Finally coming to an end today, and the month is coming to an end on Monday. So we'll have a weekly and monthly candle close within the next 2 trading days, and we'll see how things develop. But so far, it's just been a crazy month of March. Kind of glad it's over with.
Yeah, yeah. Good morning, everybody. It was a crazy month, and then it was a crazy week this last part of the month, and I expect it'll still be volatile in the first week of April, especially with Tesla. They're like waiting for bad delivery numbers to come out, and then towards the later part of the month, a quarterly report. But it's yeah, it's been pretty wild. Well, I'll let Matt do the indices, and we can talk about Tesla after indices and Bitcoin.
Yeah. So just looking at the SPY here, I can see one thing that's on my mind, and that's the 50-week moving average. 566 10, right? That's what it's at. And essentially it's below at pre-market, but weekly candle closes today. So we'll see if it can actually reclaim it as a support. And if that can happen, that'll be the first weekly candle above it since the past 2 weeks. So that would be very, very nice. A nice change of pace that would allow for possible opportunity to continue higher and higher. But if it does close the week below it today, then perhaps it might even retest lows again. So this could determine some things for the month of April to come if it cannot reclaim some of that support. So very, very important level here for SPY. So I'll be watching that completely. And
How does it
with
how does it look for the month? Since we're going to close the month on Monday.
it still is fine. Like the conversion line's right there,
Oh,
561.75. So I
oh yeah,
mean,
that looks
there's really
great.
no loss. There's really no loss of high time frame momentum for
Yeah.
SPY. But the QQQ for the month, on that matter, it's kind of below it right now. So that'll be interesting to watch for the QQQ. And on the weekly chart, it never reclaimed the it never reclaimed the 50-week moving average. Really, it tried to at the beginning of the week, but it failed and just got rejected. So QQQ actually looks the weakest out of all of them right now, and I think the potential to continue lower, especially for even stocks like Nvidia and maybe Google and others, Microsoft perhaps too, they kind of look like they want to go lower in the short term. So we'll see if that plays out, but I don't really see it really reclaiming this support. But by Monday, it does have an opportunity to close above the conversion, though. So 482.13. That'll be something to watch by Monday's monthly candle close, right there. And go to IWM right here for the monthly chart, and it looks like it's going to continue to possibly close the month above 203.07 and the baseline 203.33 and the 50-month moving average 201.79. So this is actually holding a lot of monthly support down here after losing the conversion line back up here, right? So this already lost the monthly conversion line. So, but it got down to its high time frame support. I see it stabilizing down here, and the weekly chart is no different. The 200 week, the 100 week, everything looks okay from the IWM and the SPY standpoint, but the QQQ kind of looks like it has a potential to possibly lose its monthly support and go lower. I'll even check out the SMH for you guys too, just to see how that's developing for the semiconductors. And this lost its weekly support a while ago, and once it lost it with this bearish engulfing, it drifted lower, and it almost got to the bottom of the cloud, and now it's just really in the middle of a range. But this monthly chart is pretty wild, and it's just very interesting to look at because it kind of told a story too. And this is what I'm worried about for QQQ, right? So it held the conversion line, held it, lost it, boom, went lower, right? So if we see the same thing for QQQ and it loses the monthly conversion line, then it has the potential to just go lower, right? Just like the SMH did. And it's still pretty weak, right? The SMH on the monthly chart still pretty weak, and there's still more support below than it is above. So drifting lower does look like it's probably likely in the cards, at least maybe 206 again, maybe even the baseline 199. So lots of weakness in the semis still. The strongest one still looks like AMD out of all of them, really, because the rest of them look like they're losing some high time frame support. And with that said, let's jump into. Do we got a Tesla chart ready, Tracker?
Yeah, can we do? I like to let's do Bitcoin right after the
Oh, Bitcoin.
indices.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
look at Bitcoin
Bitcoin.
action with Tesla. They correlate a lot.
Okay. Yeah, I have Bitcoin here. Then I'll switch over to you. And Bitcoin, it kind of lost some 4 hour support. I was watching this 4 hour chart yesterday about the 200 and the 50 and the cloud. But it kind of just went right back down to the bottom of the cloud and where the 100 period average is 84.6 and 84.9. So it has a possibility to stabilize here, but it's clear on the weekly chart what's happening. It's clear that this 45-degree angle is a resistance and it can't break above. So going back down to retest the baseline seems like the likely move now, and that's 84.112, maybe even the 1.272 at 83.558. So go up, get rejected, go back down, retest support, and that'll be really the ideal zone to hold. So we could see some volatility over the weekend here, but I think starting next week, if we could stabilize on top of this 1.272 and this baseline, I think it really does have a decent chance for April and maybe even beyond to continue its journey higher, because it looks like a previous support flipped to a resistance and now it's flipping back to a support. So this has potential to look better and better. And go ahead, Trekker.
All right. Well, I'm going to start with Bitcoin too, and then I'll go into Tesla. I just want to show this is a 4 hour candlestick Bitcoin chart. And so from this high of 109,356, it kind of went through, it trended through these points, through here, tried to break out, and then down here. Once again, it tried to, it just wicked above it, but couldn't get over it. And like Matt said, then it just kind of started falling down. And I predicted this, I don't know, I guess a few days ago. I was looking at it, it's like, well, it can't get above this trend line, so maybe it'll come back down to this moving average 75. And indeed, overnight, that's what it did. Now it's like underneath the moving average 75. What the 8 hour Ichimoku looks like. 8 hour Ichimoku could come down to hit the bottom of the cloud about 84,000, and then maybe we'll see a reversal. I don't know. Like Matt said, I would love to see it just touch 84,000 and then come back up again, especially before the Sunday weekly close. Maybe it'll, you know, run down here really fast, and then maybe it can finally break out above this trend line. Would be the great bullish scenario going into April. All right. That said, with Bitcoin maybe wanting to go a little lower, I'll show my SPY chart too just before I talk about Tesla, because that's also impacts it. SPY came right down to the top of the gap on the beginning of Wednesday. No, at the end of Wednesday. Then it came down and it closed the gap during yesterday, and I thought that would be it, but no, it chose violence and has come back through the gap again, and is going to open the market below the weekend pre-market gap. So that, and then I've got this channel also. It's kind of a loose channel tracking the top trend, and then extending the top trend angle just down to kind of the body of this candle, maybe the wick of this one. Let's go to the body of this candle. And so, I wouldn't be surprised if price came down and touched the bottom of this cloud for the 4 hour Ichimoku, and hopefully that's support and sends it back up into April. Yeah, because I would just like to see that being the ultimate bottom here, and then just like a lot of volatility, checking things out, but still staying in this channel so far. Okay, oops, I've got a separate tab for Tesla. All right, here's Tesla. Now, Tesla, where is it on the 1 hour chart? On the daily chart? Here it is. Here's that weekend price gap. Looks like I moved it to use some after hours market action, but it still hasn't closed that gap yet. And I don't know, maybe it will, maybe it won't. I believe, let's see, I noticed there was somewhere, I think it's right here. there was another corresponding gap. Um, Maybe I am thinking about this one. I don't know why it's not drawn on this chart. I think I've got too many Tesla charts, but I don't know. Maybe this gap and then that gap down, this gap up. Maybe they match each other. Sometimes you'll get bookshelf gaps, but like I said, I mentioned my friend Amro Hassan. He says these weekend gaps get filled more often than not. So on the 4 hour chart, we're still, I thought we were going to close the gap yesterday. Yesterday was a pretty disastrous day for me as far as trading. I was expecting to go down first and then up. And what did it do? It went up and then down. So people are asking me what it's going to do today. I for sure, maybe it's going to hold this gap. Well, this is why I moved it down because I was including this bit of pre-market action. But maybe it's going to wait and do this gap with the April 2nd deliveries. If the deliveries are bad, maybe April 2nd it'll run it down, close the gap, and then go up. I'm not sure. I I kind of bought the narrative that maybe it was going to hold this bottom here yesterday, and I bought TSLL again. But who knows? Maybe if the direction starts to go down, I'll just sell out of it and stay and go back into cash and wait until April 2nd and see what happens. So that's my short-term Tesla projection. It's the risk reward is a risk of it going back down. It won't be. I guess Monday is the last day of this monthly S1 pivot. So down almost 11% is the risk. The reward is if it can break up, make a higher high, maybe to this daily R2, maybe to the sell block above. I don't know. That's still between the two of them. This is 11% down. That's like 10% up if it goes to the daily R2. One last thing. For the last 2 days in a row, the max pain in options for Tesla has been 260. And I checked it just this morning. It's now 265. 265 is the max pain in options today. So make it go below 265 and then close back up just to 265. But right here is your max pain in options for Tesla today. All right, and that's pretty much all the guidance I have for you today. It's been a while because price moved so far, so fast coming down. It's not surprising to me at all that we're going to get a lot of big oscillations up and down, even on the way up, even as I'm looking for it to go towards the 500s in the long term, 300s in the short term. It's going to go up and down a lot on the way there. So just be wary. All right, that's my Tesla coverage.
Yeah, and all I'm looking at is that fib level 272.79 for myself. I just want to see a weekly close above it. That's the main thing for me. So don't really need to show my chart there, but I can jump into some of the requests. And with that, I'll do app 11. And yeah, we did. I think we talked about it yesterday, how it was pretty obvious that it just went up to get rejected by the 332.50 up here. Got rejected, and also the baseline, which is 325.84, and it just came back down. Right, it almost even retouched the blue angle there, but not quite. And now it's just in the middle of a range pre-market. So it's just volatility, and it's a clear loss of momentum. So I wouldn't really get too excited about any of this pre-market move just yet until it really reclaims that 332.50. So yeah, it's just range bound. And when it's range bound, it's easier to manipulate price to go to the lower end of the range or back up to the higher end of the range, because it gets people all emotional and excited when it goes up, or it gets people scared when it goes down, but really nothing is happening at all. So technically you can just look at these two fibs, the 332.50 and 231.76. It's a huge range. And it lost that range, or it lost at 332. So going back lower does make sense, and going back higher also makes sense because nothing is changing at all. I did want to do mags as well, because that kind of referred to the larger cap as well, right? The Magnificent Seven, and yeah, it's the same as the QQQ. And the QQQ is losing the 50-week moving average, and so is the Mag 7. So this kind of implies that maybe if there is going to be a continuation, a rally with some markets, it's probably not going to come from the previous leaders. It's probably not going to come from your Googles, your Microsoft, or even your Nvidia, right? Those have potential to continue to go lower. And I have been selling my Nvidia, and I might even sell more if it just does have a weekly or a week monthly candle close, a week monthly candle close. So we'll see, because this does not look like a good setup for a continuation right now. If it closes this week and if it closes the month, how it is right now. So if that's the case, the downside potentially could even be for mags, maybe the cloud, maybe the 44s, maybe even the bottom of the cloud here, maybe even the 40s, or even the high 30s down here, to possibly even retest the August 5th low down there into the 38s. So we do have to put that on the table now, because it looks kind of weak, right? It's the weakest it's ever looked since the creation of this whole thing. So we'll see. We'll see how today closes. If it closes back above 47.90, which is the 50-week, then there is a potential to get a little bit more bullish, right? A little bit more bullish for the future. But if it closes below that for the second week in a row, then potentially it has a risk to the downside. So with that said, Tracker.
Yeah, I do want to cover APP on my own here just real quick. So APP, it did, like Matt said, it got rejected from my 8-hour moving average 75. That was a 382 retrace from the high back down to this sort of epic low way early on, 58.14. So overall, I mean, it was 5 waves up, an ABC retrace. It did retrace almost perfectly to the 61.8% at 238.10. So I'm counting this as my larger degree wave 1, larger degree wave 2, and now I'm looking for wave 3, 1, 2, 3. On the way up to 1, it had a big oscillation. I made a tragic buy kind of midday yesterday before it did the big drop. But I think it's a pretty good chance that the big drop is done. So here's your risk reward. The downside is if it goes back and revisits the 61.8% retracement fib again, that's about 16.5% down from where it is right now. The upside, however, is 44% to get over this 382 retracement to the 236 retracement. What I'm looking for is extensions here on the right from this wave 2 bottom to the 382 extension, 23.6, and then 618. I'm sorry, 1236 right there. 1236. So I like the risk reward, even though I'm down on APP right now from where I bought it yesterday. I'm just going to hold it because I think it'll do okay. Maybe you'll see resistance along here. That's it. I just wanted to show you the risk reward looks better than the reward looks better than the risk right now for APP. What else?
Is NU, if you have
NU?
that. Yeah.
Yeah, let me get the right. So this one, again, it seems to have finished a 5th wave, and I was looking for an ABC retrace. It got to a very bullish, not even quite all the way. No, I'm sorry. Well, yeah, no, it didn't quite do it. Do a 50%. No, wait a second. This is the wrong. Flip it. I have to flip these back and forth all the time because I'm always looking at different ways. So it retraced, yeah, right to the 50% level. So that's a really good bullish retrace. So as long as $9.90 holds as the wave 2, wave 1, wave 2 bottom, then in wave 3, I'm looking again just cautiously for a 382, 236. So from where price is right now, perhaps a 33% higher to this 382 at $14.82, and see if it can hold 12.94 as support after that. And if that goes on, then it goes 123.6 up here to 82, which is like 133. And you looks good from here. So, just if you get in it, put your stop below 990.
Yeah, I can see that. And the 100 week moving average is at like 1052 for NU. So I'm kind of watching that as a higher time frame support zone. Which if it holds like it has been holding, then it has the potential. Yeah,
Oh,
that's for
nice.
sure.
Yeah, it's right under there.
I'll do I'll do Ethereum next because people are giving up on everything again. That's what they got to do when they see red, right? So
Yep.
Ethereum, all I saw with this one is if you look to the left here, you can see the 2069.9. That's the halfway. That's the 50% fib. It got lost as a support, right? And we saw that big bearish engulfing candle cut through the 200 week and that 50%, and then flipped it 3 weeks in a row to resistance. So what's happening now is not really a surprise, and I kind of think it might even go a little bit lower, back to at least this 382 down here, the 1691, and I could see it touching that because it kind of was a important zone before, right? A previous resistance kind of flipped to support, and it really was the start of the breakout zone, right? So retesting that breakout zone kind of makes sense to me. It doesn't necessarily need to because it already basically went down to all of these previous resistance candles as well. So it retested that. So it has potential to hold here as well. But it wouldn't surprise me to go back below 1700 again to do that. But when you look at the monthly chart of ETH, I think it's kind of telling a story here. And the story it's really telling me is uh, that it's still on the high time frame. From the bottom here, it's still higher highs and higher lows, and basically, this monthly candle is still higher and ain't going in the right direction. And it's lost the 50-month moving average many times before in the past, and it reclaimed it. Right, I think we're just seeing a deeper correction of that, losing the monthly moving average here than we have before, simply because it still is kind of extended from maybe the 100-month moving average, and also that 382 never got back tested as well, where there's a lot of activity down there. So we could just see that, but it's not really dead. It's just really, really slow, and it's really making people want to just not be in it anymore. But I still think a potential that it can be very, very nice in the future, just maybe later in the cycle, right? And we're seeing the same kind of thing with the Bitcoin miners too. That they are just lagging and lagging and lagging, and perhaps they kind of might move later on in the cycle as well. So it's not all lost. It's not all hope is lost just yet. I think what we can start to see in maybe the months to come is some stabilization down here, and then I think potentially going back up to the upside. So probably a little bit more down first before higher.
All right. I pulled up. You know, I just want to show XRP. Just it did do exactly what you said, Matt. Since it failed at 240, it went back to 220. It's
Yeah,
221.55 right now,
yeah.
and that's fine. It's just still oscillating. I've got. Oh, I guess I could make this. Whoops. I guess I could make this my 1-2 now. Interesting. I've got these same targets. I'm looking for about 469 to $5 next. Then maybe it retraces back to 340 and then on up to 876. And I really hope the 3-4 goes really fast because the two's been kind of slow.
Yeah.
Uh, I want my 876 really fast soon.
Yeah, I think
Okay, but then I pulled up Zim
okay.
for the request.
Well, just with
Oh, go
XRP
ahead.
real quick,
XRP
I
request.
just wanted some commentary on that. Uh, if Bitcoin goes back down to like 84, 83, then I think XRP will probably go back down to the low twos at least. So be a little bit cautious here because Bitcoin still hasn't retested its higher time frame support in the 83, 84,000 zone. So probably expect some volatility through this weekend for a little bit lower first before some consolidation to go higher. So with that said, yeah, go ahead with your Zim.
Oh yeah, I see XRP is sort of below my daily moving average 75. That's its current resistance right now, 262. Okay, here's the Zim chart. Um, First off, if you look at it from a why is this like that? Did Zim have some sort of weird? Sorry, just give me a second. I thought I had. Anyway, from a retracement standpoint, from this high right here, it kind of went up to 53.50 and then down to 602. An ABC retrace would be 382, 236, 618 typically. 236 is here. It went kind of below it. So now I'm kind of thinking it went to like the 50% level for the A, then a little bit below the 236. So instead of 618, let's look for like 764 if it does an ABC. And then what happened with this chart? Didn't have a price change, did they? You belong there. You belong there. Yeah, never mind. I'm sorry. I think I must have messed this up on purpose. Must have gotten rid of this on purpose. All right, that's it. I'll just look at it on a retrace level for right now. And you can see it went back this morning and opened back up again. 1489. So it did make a slightly lower B again still. It's under this 23.6% retracement back up. But yeah, look forward to bottom here soon, if it hasn't already, and start recovering again, I think. I don't know. If you want to stop out. Oh, I'm not going to find up there. It's tricky. Maybe stop out below 1384, which is like right around this zone. Yeah, everything is sort of just volatile right now. And I've been loath to redo all my charts yet because I still am not 100% sure of the bottoms on everything. And that's mostly where we're at. Kim asked if I sold my TSLZ. Yeah, I sold my TSLZ. Let's see.
I have a GME chart ready, and this one.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, GME. We can see it was kind of obvious to me what it was going to do after earnings, and I even said it on X that it's probably going to go to the 30s and get rejected. And sure enough, like the top of the cloud there was basically 29.68. That's what I was looking at, and it got rejected. So then price came screaming back down to where it has been basically for the past few weeks in a row, and now it's still going lower. But I actually started a position for the first time on GME yesterday, and so I think I will add more if it gets down closer to the 100-week moving average or this 618 down here, the 2036. Almost there, right? Really, really solid foundation down there, and I do like it. So I think it was just an obvious move, a big fake out to a big shakeout. And I think that shakeout's not really done yet, so I think a little bit more down before up. But the lower it goes, the better I like it, and I think it really has potential to continue to maybe like build a floor down on the 20s or even the high teens down there, and just build a base down there before trying to go higher. So at GME, I'm finally accumulating a position just for the future because I think it really has a chance to go higher. And the main reason really is if we look at the Bollinger Band here on the monthly chart. Let me take off all this other stuff because it's all noisy. We can see it broke out above the 20-month moving average, and it's been holding as support, which is also in the low 20s right there, 2032. So that's more confluence. So we haven't seen it on the top side of this Bollinger Band since it really broke out massively before. So now it's kind of bull flagging on the monthly chart on top of it. So to me, this really screams of something that has potential to eventually be a lot more bullish in the future, but it's going to take patience. It's not like a get rich quick thing because I think it's just going to be basically trying to establish a foundation here before going higher. So I do like it finally in the low 20s.
Cool. Thanks, Matt. And I pulled up the HIMS chart here, my HIMS chart. Here on the weekly time frame, again, I pulled up the Bollinger Band, just like Matt was looking at. And, you know, HIMS went way outside the Bollinger Band in February and then came back down to test that 20-week moving average. And it's just slightly long. I mean, now it's below it. Turn off the Bollinger Band. On the daily time scale, it's underneath my moving average 75, but it's kind of oscillating over it, under it, over it, under it. Uh, the lowest wave two, the lowest highest low we've had since the wave five top here. So it's trying to prove the bottom. Anywhere down here is a fine place to accumulate some. If you're super conservative, you can put your stop under 3101. But yeah, anywhere down here is a good place to buy him. It's still very bullish with higher highs, higher lows. So with the extension chart, even if I did a more conservative 382236, you're still looking at, just adjust this here, $53, $45 of resistance, then getting over it to $53. See if you can get higher or not. Otherwise, it's back down. And then the 1236, 764, 2236. So here, I just downgraded this a fib, but still lots of great risk reward from just from where price is right now to that fixed resistance is 42%. The 382 is 68% higher. Yeah, HIMS looks great. I don't know why I didn't decide to buy more HIMS yesterday instead of some of them today or Monday. No, maybe Tuesday. Maybe Tuesday after the
Monday, Tuesday.
We'll see what the monthly. Remember this first. I know those first monthly candles. They just get so crazy sometimes because they can go anywhere they want at first.
Yeah,
and then,
they can drop it. They can send it higher.
The
They
March
can
did not.
just do everything.
Yeah, it's all over the place. I guess maybe I'll gamble some before the beginning of the next month because,
Well,
like I
yeah,
said, HIMS
actually,
looks like it's really trying to bottom here.
yeah, I have the same thing on my chart too with HIMS. It's the 1.272 for the past 3 weeks in a row, right? I thought maybe it was time to go up one level back up to the 1.414, but no, it just wanted to stay in the same range that it really has been before. So it's 3157. Pre-market, it's 3145. So it's basically around that same zone. And it did wick below that 3157 for the past 2 weeks in a row. So it makes sense to wick below it again. But we'll see. We'll see if it actually can close the week back above that 3157 for a potential to be in the bottoming process for the continuation higher. So yeah, this HEMS chart still very nice. Even on the monthly chart here, we can pull it up and you can see that it is kind of losing the baseline and the conversion line up here on the monthly chart for the first time in a while, but it still is just a massive breakout. And so it's kind of a normal process, in my opinion, for HEMS. It's a very volatile stock, very, very volatile, but it has the potential to stabilize in this zone. So that's the zone I'll be watching right here. And I do have a coin chart as well for you guys and Coinbase. We'll just take a look at a couple things here. It's basically at the bottom of the Bollinger Band right there. Even on the monthly chart, it's basically trying to hold that monthly 20-month moving average, and that's kind of at 189.23. It is below it right now, but Monday is the monthly candle close, so I'll be watching that. And on the weekly chart, yeah, it's just getting back inside the Ichimoku cloud again and retesting the bottom of the arc and even going a little bit deeper, possibly even retesting the bottom of the cloud. And guess what, guys? There is the 100-week moving average down there as well at 175.71. So it still is doing the same thing it has been doing for the past few weeks as well, just like Bitcoin, just like everything else. So nothing really is changing on the high time frame. It is trying to get on top of the weekly cloud here, but so far it's not succeeding. So we'll see how this weekly candle closes today, because it could just be more of a process before trying to go higher.
Yep, my coin chart pretty much says the same thing because I'm looking at the same weekly Ichimoku cloud. But after it bottomed at 3155, came up here to 283.48, and then the highest low it's made so far is, or the lowest highest low, 146.12. So that's my wave two. Then this 1-2 is the 1-2 of wave three. So it looks like it did 764. It didn't hold the three. At first, it held the 3-2. Then we had, March. And so back below the 236, I'd say once it can get back over the 382 for a little bit and show that as support, it should start moving really fast towards this 1382 at 494.29. So just look and see. Yeah, I'm expecting at some point. I don't think if you want to stop out of whatever, your stop is just below 146.12. Other than that, I'm just looking for it to go higher and reclaim 242 and then on up to 494. Else PBF.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. Oh, I have done this one before. PBF Energy, it did make a new lower low for the wave 2, so I have to adjust the chart. And it's right at the bottom. So like this hasn't really proven that its wave 2 is done yet. So be really careful with this. You might want to wait and see if you want to be conservative about it. Wait for it to start fighting 32.72 again, though that leaves out a lot of profit. So I don't know. You could start DCAing in, I suppose, between where I would expect it to find its initial bullish resistance is about 64% higher from where it is right now. So I don't know. You can keep a tight stop under it and DCA in, or here's a 786 retracement. Maybe that's really the place to just get out. If it goes below 1665, get out. But otherwise you could DCA from now until about then. And if it does find a bottom soon, if it's found the bottom, look for it to fight its way back to 32 and then maybe top out at $41. So that's 64% higher to the 236 and 108% higher to $41.31, the 382, 38.2% fib extension. And wow, did we do all the?
Yeah, I think we got through them all
today?
right on time.
Like,
and now it's time for us to run away and disappear forever. No, just joking. We'll be back Monday.
Yep.
Yeah, tracker.
Do our different things. Yeah, no, we'll be back Monday for sure. And it's going to be, because it's the last day of the month.
Yeah.
First day of the week. It'll be something. Just look out. Volatility is sky high right now.
Yeah, volatility is high.
If you're able to.
I see
if you could trade options on volatility and not price direction, you can make out like a bandit. And my good friend Alberto F. Newman, he does have a Patreon. I'm sorry, it's a Discord service. If you're interested, just look him up, Alberto F. Newman, and he does. He just does options contracts writing. They're level 4 contracts. So if you don't know what that means, you probably shouldn't do it. But if you do know what that means, he's got a 100% win rate, writing one side and selling another side for the last 36 weeks. So if you have any more questions about that, you can just ask me on X. But he's a great follow.
And I see Kevin Stone, Liberation Day is the day Trump creates the biggest crash of our lifetimes. I don't know if that's Liberation Day, but a lot of people are really, really bearish, and yeah, things have not been very good the last few months. But the bear market, if people really want to look down on it, I just want to just say one last thought. If people say, "Oh, I called the bear market months ago," well, check this out. Like this monthly candle for SPY is only down 4.5%, and is that a scary bear market? And the answer really is no, right? It's just a lot of things within that 4.5% have been damaged even more, which got everybody even more bearish, because some things that they're just higher beta. And if you're in higher beta things, they're going to be more volatile. So if people really want to not have that kind of risk, then they should probably not choose the same stocks, right? And I know Tracker and me, Kat, we all like the higher beta stuff, and it's more fun. It's more enjoyable for us, but a lot of people can't handle it because they get shaken out too easily. But I just want to put things in perspective. SPY for the month is only down 4.5%. So is this a bear market? And also last month, it was only down 1.27%. right? So you called it a few months ago. Well, that's not really a bear market, right? A bear market is not down 4.5 and then 1.5% month over month. That's not really a bear market for the SPY. So, with that said, this is just a pullback right now because we can see it's still holding the conversion line, still holding the 1.618. So things are not that scary. Just the higher beta things. A lot of people have been shaken out, like Tesla, like Coinbase, like a lot of things, right? But that's just normal volatility now for those higher betas. So with that said, guys, we'll see you next week and have a great, great, great trading week.
Yep.
Next week.
Great weekend, everybody. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll see you Monday.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.